everybody, it's the Gnome, and welcome to your new DCAU update. I know that a while back I promised that I was going to take some of the older DCAU DVD films and review them for you. Before I started actually making these videos, there were a whole bunch that I never got around to watching and reviewing, because I started this little segment on my channel with Justice League Doom. But like our president, another promise kept. So I am actually going to give you guys a wonderful celebration, because we are now in the midst of the 80th anniversary of the Man of Steel. That is right, Superman has been in popular culture for 80 years. That is absolutely phenomenal, and he is still so recognized and relevant today. So I figured that before August 7th, which is when the newest DCAU film, which revolves around Superman, of course, comes out, it was only appropriate that for the next 2 months I pull some of the older Superman animated films off the shelf and review them for you. So we're going to talk about one that really falls in the middle for a great many of us who love DC animation, but for me it's definitely one of the better films in the collection, and that of course is All-Star Superman. Why I think that this is such a good movie is because it is very different from the other Superman films that we had gotten, as well as Bruce Timm's depiction of Superman in general. This is a movie that explores Superman more than just being the superhero and Earth's savior. This is him facing a true personal crisis. Because in case you don't know that this is based on the Grant Morrison graphic novel series, this is a story of Superman discovering that he has cancer because of exposure to too much yellow sunlight. And when he finds out that he is going to be dying, it is time for him to take a look at his proverbial bucket list and do a whole bunch of things that he wanted to do before he officially died. One of them, of course, was revealing himself to Lois Lane, and also doing something very nice for her birthday, and at the same time just making sure that he left the Earth in peace, and that the human race remembers him as Earth's savior. And of course there are so many other factors involved in regards to the perspective of Lois Lane, the perspective of Lex Luthor, as well as a whole bunch of other people that are important in his life. This is definitely a very heartwarming film. This is definitely a very unique film. I really love the animation and the wonderful score from Christopher Drake. This may be also a bit cringeworthy. There are definitely some moments in the film where the dialogue is a little bit weird, especially when it comes to the beginning. It comes off a little bit off, like it's not entirely great dialogue, especially when he encounters Samson and Atlas. These are these two egotistical dumbbell heroes that are just trying to win the heart of Lois Lane, and there are just points in time where you're watching this and it's just not so good. Also, when Superman brings Lois to the Fortress of Solitude after he reveals himself as Superman, because of course as Clark Kent he's dating her, he shows her all of these things around the Fortress of Solitude, and it feels to me a little bit like a 5-year-old showing another kid his room. It's just a little bit juvenile and just not the greatest. But as the movie progresses, especially when you see his showdown with Parasite, his showdown with Lex Luthor, it is definitely a fantastic display of sight and sound and color and pure unadulterated emotion. It is just unbelievable to watch. It's also got a great cast, including Christina Hendricks and Anthony LaPaglia, and a newcomer as voicing Superman, who is James Denton. I don't know who he is, but he definitely did a great job as Superman. I also love the animation style. It reminds me of the classic Christopher Reeve Superman for some reason, even though of course it is live action, but there's just something about it that just reminds me of that great godlike Superman that we all knew and loved from the 1970s. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the films, I still admire Christopher Reeve putting on the costume to be the Man of Steel. But one of the few things that I think is the most powerful part about All-Star Superman is all of the things in this movie that really remind us of Superman. Everything from look up into the sky, to him being a bumbly Clark Kent, to the powerful score that sounds very much like a John Williams score, and just him being an all-around good guy. That is what I love about him. There's also a whole bunch of great comic references like the City of Kandor, just to name a few. But just this overall depiction of who Superman is and how much he means to so many people is what makes this film truly great. I highly recommend that you see it, especially if you go at it from that kind of a nostalgic perspective, if you will. I really think that you will look at Superman in a very familiar light, but possibly as well as a brand new light. And that ending in this movie is absolutely beautiful, especially considering the fact that it is also the last film that one of the creators, Dwayne McDuffie, saw before he unfortunately passed away. His last film that he gave us was Justice League Doom, but this was the last one that he ever saw. So once again, another great and powerful note to go off on. So enjoy the 80th anniversary of Superman, everybody. Please take some time to watch All-Star Superman. I think you will enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to another great DCAU update next month as we count down the days for the newest film, and I'm looking forward to that. I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.